In this tutorial, we'll create simple armature for mouth and manually weight paint it to the bones. We don't need to bake anything anymore, so we can use Convert to Mesh option on the models to apply multi-resolution. Then rename meshes and add LOD numbers to the names, starting from 0 for most detailed LOD and increasing the number for simpler meshes. This naming convention will be imported on export. This way, engines can recognize LODs automatically. Now, we can select all meshes and reset all transforms. For now, we can isolate least detailed LOD mesh and create single bone armature. In object properties of the armature, enable in front and set display as to wire. Now, we can start making new bones. At first, I rename this bone to root and align x-axis and the axis of the bone to y and the axis of the world. These are also the axes that we need to set up in export settings. Then I duplicate the root bone, realign it, and rename it to head. This bone will also work as parent for other bones. We also need to parent it to root. Then duplicate head bone, rename it to jaw, realign it, and parent it to head. Then duplicate jaw bone, place it near lower teeth, and name it teeth underscore B. Duplicate lower teeth bone, place it around upper teeth, and rename it to teeth underscore T. Then parent lower teeth bone to jaw and upper teeth bone to head. Then duplicate jaw bone, place it inside tongue, and rename this bone to tongue. Then subdivide tongue bone 3 times. Now we can realign and rename tongue bones properly. And now the form armature is done. Since I want LEDs to be recognized by the engine automatically, I need to create a LED group. So, create empty and parent LED meshes to it. Rename the empty to mouth LEDs, and in object properties create new custom property. Set property type to string and property name to fbx underscore type, and default value to LED group. Then hover mouse cursor over property and press backspace to reset it. Now we need to add armature modifier on meshes and select the armature that we created. You can set up modifier on one mesh first and then copy it to others. Now, let's start weight painting. For weight painting, I'm using Easy Weights add-on. It doesn't add many changes, but makes weight paint tools more accessible. For example, it enables auto-normalize and multi-paint by default. Now, we need to paint a bit of weight for every bone that we want to deform a mesh to create corresponding vertex groups. If we need to weight paint obscured part, we can hide parts of the mesh in edit mode to make them hidden in weight paint mode. For more precision, we can select parts of the mesh in edit mode and assign them to vertex groups that we already have. To fill the gaps between weight islands, we will take advantage of auto-normalize. First, I use Smooth option and set it to selected both bones. Then repeat it few times. And then using Blur brush to smooth and normalize the weights. Then continue refining the weight by adding and smoothing them until I like the result. Now, when tongue is done, I'll assign upper and lower teeth meshes to their corresponding groups in edit mode. Now, we can use Smooth again and paint weights for the throat. For problematic regions, we can assign weights in edit mode. Now that weights are done, we can transfer them onto other meshes. So, select LD1, add data transfer modifier, set object to LD2 mesh, in vertex data, set it to vertex groups, mapping to near face interpolated, press generate data layers, and apply modifier. Now we can test the forms. We can see that weights for TIFF transferred a bit incorrectly. We can fix that by selecting problematic parts of the mesh in edit mode, deleting them from vertex groups we don't want to have influence on them, and reassigning them to their vertex groups. And now we can repeat the process for last LOD. Now that weight painting is done, we can proceed to export. First, check if everything named properly. Then select armature, LOD group empty, and LOD meshes. Then export it as FBX. In export settings, we need to change few options. First, set limit to selected objects and enable custom properties. In transform, change forward to lie forward and disable use space transform. This is one of the options that corrupts shape keys. In geometry, set smoothing to edge and disable apply modifiers. This is the second option that corrupts shape keys. In armature, set primary axis to x-axis and secondary to z-axis, and enable only deform bones. If I have animation, I usually set simplified to 0 to avoid jitter. Now that settings are done, we can actually make preset out of them and press export. What's left is to import model into the game engine. I'm using Unreal Engine and check if everything imports correctly. For that, we can just drag and drop a FBX file into engine and use standard settings for import. Now, model is imported, and we can check if the forms and LEDs working correctly. Here we can see that I've messed up hierarchy and forgot to parent Joe to head Bone, but overall, there's no problem with the forms. And as we can see here, LED is imported correctly too.